Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for the Syndicate podcast. I'm your host, Mark, I think, and that's Owen over there in UK. What's going on, mate?
Hey, mate, you okay?
I'm okay. We haven't spoken for what, a few weeks? I don't know.
Not
Because
on air anyway. No, not live.
yeah, nah. But like you checked out. I said your equipment was not working after the post game show.
Oh
I don't
no.
blame you. I don't blame you last week versus the Browns. But it must have been the preview, I guess, before the Browns was the last time we spoke.
Probably, yeah,
Was
the
it?
Thursday
Was it
night.
not?
Yeah, probably
And
about
we're
a week
probably
ago.
going to talk about the same things.
Yeah, not much has evolved, has it, or progressed in the last week and a bit?
Not overly. And we've got a big game tonight too, guys. This will be a preview about the Steelers. Steelers versus Jets. But there's a big game on today too. There's Miami Dolphins versus the Cincinnati Bengals, 3-0 versus 1-2 Bengals. I'm actually taking. Who are you taking?
Dolphins all day.
Yeah. I think Dolphins can win this game. I think they can improve to 4-0. I think they're playing outstanding football. It's going to be good to see the Bengals go to 1-3. Right, a bit of a buffer for the AFC North. We'll find out who really Joe Burrow is and stuff like that. But like watching these teams play on, and we just talked about off air, like the Eagles and those kind of guys. What do you see from these offenses that Matt Canada offense isn't doing?
You look at the likes of the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, all those really good offensive teams. You see an offense that can run the ball when it wants to, an offense that throws a mixture of passes, short, mid, long range passes, an offense that is mobile, a quarterback that is mobile, but mobile in the right ways. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, just everything. Basically, the complete opposite of what the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to watch. As a fan, seeing Tua drop back and throw like a 70-yard bomb or 50-yard bomb to Waddle or Tyreek Hill, and I know we haven't got Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that. G'day, State of the Steelers. What's going on, mate? Shout out to State of the Steelers, Daniel there, mate. But like, I know we haven't got that, but same time, can Trubisky not or Matt Canada not feed this football down the field to George, to Deontay, and at least put them on their toes? Why aren't they putting the defense on their toes a little bit to respect the pass and then give us a room for some run?
Oh, it's frustrating because you look at the offensive weapons and you compare the weapons that the Steelers have got with the weapons that the Chiefs have got, that the Bills have got. I don't think if you take, for example, let's take the Bills for example. For Stephon Diggs, Reed Deontay Johnson. We've also got Claypool. You've got Pickens. You've got Harris. Harris is a better running back than Singletary, I think the guy is called, who's the Bills running back. He's a better running back than Edwards-Helaire, who's the Chiefs running back. He's a better running back than Chase Edmonds, who's the Dolphins running back. I don't understand. I don't understand how Canada cannot scheme something to get the best out of these guys. And to what extent is it Canada? To what extent is it Trubisky? That's the question, I think.
That is a big question, and I was talking to Stab the Steelers. I think it was on one of our mates. In hindsight, another guy on Steeler guy, Nathan. We were on his channel doing a podcast, and we talked about it might have been on States. I don't know where I am, but it might have been on Daniel's show, and we talked about like, is it Coach Tomlin? Is it Matt Canada? Is it Trubisky? Is it a variety of all three? And I saw you're in your YouTube show the other day. Right, you talked about what did you bring up? You said I'm having a blank. What was your last video you did?
What, the one about Tomlin being stubborn, was it? Or
yeah, it might have been that.
Yeah, he to me seems very stubborn. He seems, I don't look. Colin Cowherd. I don't like Colin Cowherd. I don't agree with 99% of what that guy says, and he doesn't like the Steelers, and that's clear. But I actually did agree with something he said the other day. He said that the Steelers' biggest weakness is loyalty, and I think he's right. I think he's 100% correct on that. If you look at other teams, would Bill Belichick be standing for what Trubisky is putting out there on that pitch? Would
Not at all.
Andy Reid, would Nick Sirianni of the Eagles, would Sean McDermott of the Bills, would Sean McVay of the Rams? No, they wouldn't. They would not be standing for this, and they'd be benching Trubisky by now. But all of those head coaches.
When you said Nick Sirianni for the Eagles, I had a flashback to the Eagles when they had Doug Peterson there, and Doug Peterson did the opposite. He benched his best player and put in his worst player to lose, or to lose the game and get a higher draft pick. But no, you're right. Like, and even to a certain extent, I don't even know now. Cowboys owner, Jerry World's talking about there's a quarterback competition with Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott. And for some reason, Mitchell Trubisky can't get, there's no competition with Kenny Pickett. And also, there's through the grapevine now, through the Steelers world and Steelers news, what are your thoughts on this situation? And we will talk about the game, but this stuff is so crazy. What are your thoughts about Trubisky having a contract where he actually might have 6-7 games he has to play, and they need to honor that? Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, to what extent it's true, I don't know. I mean, to what extent Tomlin and Khan could be held over the barrel by Trubisky and his agent is obviously open for debate. But I think that there's a possibility that could be true, given the fact that, around the time that we were negotiating to get Trubisky, there was strong rumors that the Giants were also interested in Trubisky. So it could have been a bargaining chip the Steelers used to get. I'm not saying that. I'm just guessing here, but it's not good. It is just not good enough. And Trubisky, to me, I think he got a pass because he played for the Bears and he played for Matt Nagy, who is generally regarded as one of the worst head coaches in Bears history. But he isn't. To me, he's looking every bit the quarterback he was in Chicago. Every bit. And I think perhaps Nagy has been unfairly blamed for the Trubisky situation. Perhaps I think like you said, Mark, when we're talking off air, he is just a bust.
He very well could be, and he has. I keep bringing this stat up, right? And we'll move on in a minute to the game and how can the Steelers win this game. We're going to be a bit more positive, I guess, in this game versus the Jets, but it's going to be a hard game, in my opinion, because the way how Trubisky is playing. He's averaging 5.5 yards per attempt. And what did you say? We said a lot of things off air, which we kind of wasted, but what did you say to me off air, Owen, about that 5.5 yards attempt? That might be the worst in history, right?
Yeah, if that persists throughout the entire season, it would be the worst this century. It would be the worst in NFL history. That's how bad it would be. I mean, it's just not good enough. I mean, and a first down is 10 yards. 5.5 yards is just over half the distance that you require. That's shocking from an NFL standard quarterback. That is absolutely shocking. And I think, like I was saying to you off air, Mark, if you watch all 22 footage of Mitch Trubisky, and I know Daniel spotted this as well, he throws solely off his back foot. He becomes solely fixated on one target. The guy does not move his head from one person. He solely he fixates on one receiver. And and you could have Johnson, Claypool, and Pickens with nobody on them downfield, but because Trubisky is so fixated on that one receiver, he completely misses them.
We got some few comments here from our mates in the chat. We got Michael here saying no brainer. Trubisky has to go. We'll actually spell it a different way. But we have another few comments about this, and this could be the topic of the show until he proves better. And look, I will be proved wrong. Go out there and prove me wrong. Go out there and command the offense. But Owen, do you have any confidence in Trubisky in his interviews off field? We'll talk about that.
No, he seems deluded to me. He just doesn't he doesn't talk about the actual game. He's talked about the fact that things are improving. He's talked.
We'll go out. We'll do better. Next time, we can always try and do better. Like, are you sick of that stuff? I am.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. I think, I don't know about you, Mark, but I'm getting to the point where you could, with a lot of press conferences, whether it be Mike Tomlin, whether it be Mitch Trubisky, whether it be Matt Canada, you could just replay the press conference from the previous week, because it's the same old every single week. And look, whether it's Trubisky, whether it's Canada, whether it's Tomlin, look, I'm going to support them because they wear black and gold. But I'm actually becoming really quite bored with watching the press conferences because it's the same old rubbish week in, week out.
The reflection of the offense too, right? And I agree with you. Like I enjoy the Mike Tomlin press conference, but you got to look at the key things because he is a bit of a wordsmith and he runs around stuff. And I still do think that he is a winner and he's going to the Hall of Fame. However, this is the biggest task that I think he's ever been faced. Having a new offense, new team, and Tomlin needs to do something. There needs to be some accountability on him. However, too, right? Let's go down this route just a little bit. If Tomlin doesn't win these next few games and they go 1-7, then sure, then he deserves to be on the hot seat. But on the other side too, if Tomlin goes throughout this gauntlet and goes 4-3, I think that there deserves to be some more praise to him as too. And maybe we are overreacting to a certain degree. However, what I see with this whole Trubisky thing is, you're right, he bores me. Nothing excites me about his play on the field, and nothing excites me about his play off the field. And you even talked about the Matt Canada offense too. In his press conferences, he's almost eluding questions and like just giving the stock standard answers. I would rather see a guy like Trubisky get asked a question or Matt Canada and say, what's the problem with your offense? And just go, without swearing, like, yeah, damn, we are playing effing terrible. I would rather hear that. I would rather hear acknowledgement, accountability of saying, you're right, we're not playing well. Not this stock standard, oh, we must do better. All 11 men on the field need to go out there and give it their all. You've been saying that for 3 years. Where's the accountability of Trubisky putting his hand up and saying, actually, you know what? I'm not playing good. I'm playing absolutely awful. I am trash. I would laugh at that. Would you? I would laugh and go, yeah, you're right. You are playing trash. You
know? I think Tomlin as well has got to think about what he's doing and think about how he's coaching this team, because I am reading an awful lot and I'm not talking about social media now, because social media can be a very poisonous place in terms of fans' points of view towards the team. But I'm also reading in terms of a lot of these Steelers insiders, these guys who've watched the Steelers for a lot of years now. And the standard thing that seems to be trotted out at the moment is Tomlin has 15 winning seasons. Why does Tomlin have 15 winning seasons? Because he had Ben Roethlisberger. That's the sole reason he had 15 winning seasons. That's why. And now we are seeing the true Mike Tomlin now that Ben Roethlisberger has gone. I mean, to what extent do you think that's fair, Mark?
To a certain extent, because I still think it's a team game, right? I still think it's a team game. However, what we are focusing on now is the quarterback play, because that seems like the elephant in the room right now. What is lacking in this team overall? To me, the defense is fine. I think they can play some games. They can win some games. I think the running game will get better. But Big Ben, you know, the argument of like he won those seasons, Tomlin didn't. Yeah, like Tomlin's still coaching the team and coaching the players. And I think the other players can put their hand up and say, well, there's a few games where the defense won. Still a team sport, but I get what you're saying. At the position of being the commanding the offense, commanding the team, what Big Ben did, right? He did win a lot of games. And he won you 2 Super Bowls, got you to 3. Now, Trubisky, can he do that?
No. Not a chance.
So, comes down to is possibly he might have. It's a hard question to answer, because if you put it that way and say, is it Tomlin or Ben who won them the games? I come to a different perspective and say, well, the whole team won games, not just one person or a coach. I get that, but at the same time, right now, what is losing us games? In my opinion, it's the quarterback play is really bad. Right? We got a question here from Joseph. He says, how bad does Mitch have to be to pull the trigger on Pickett?
I don't think we see Pickett this year. I think Tomlin is so... No, seriously. I just think Tomlin is so stubborn that he will stick by Trubisky.
At all. So you're saying hot take from Britsburgh Owen here, voice from across the pond, right? Hang on. Where's your name? Britsburgh Owen. You're saying we would never ever see Pickett.
Not this year. No, but wow. I just think unless it's in relief or something like that, I just think he's so stubborn. He's one of these coaches who the more you say it, the less likely it is to happen. The more that we bang on about wanting Pickett, the more that we say Pickett is better, the more that we say we need Pickett out there, the less likely he is to do it. It's not. And do you know what? I hear this saying so many times and it makes me want to scream. It's not the Steeler way. It's not the Steeler way to do this. It's not the Steeler way to bench somebody. It's not the Steeler way to do this. It makes me sick. Evolve with the times.
Is the Steeler way the perception of the fans, or the Steeler way the actual Steeler way?
I think it's the Steeler way. If you look back across history, when have the Steelers ever benched somebody because of poor play at those prime positions, like the quarterback position, for example. When Ben came in 2004, it was because Tommy Maddox was injured and Charlie Batch was injured. It was not because Ben outplayed Batch and Maddox, which I know he would have done, but it's just not the way they do things. It's not the Steeler way to sack coordinators during the season like other teams do. It's not the Steeler way to bench quarterbacks like other teams do.
Well, even I guess with Big Ben's poor play in the last year too, they didn't really say okay. They wrote nobody could tell Big Ben to sit down. They pretty much said, you're going to ride out the whole season, I guess. I see what you're saying, but Coach Tomlin did end up benching Alulu. Is that not a positive?
But yeah, it is. But I think again, it's the defense, and he seems quite happy to do that to the defense, but not to the offense. The offense can be as bad as it wants, as bad as it wants to be, but can get away with it. Whereas the defense, and I think Alulu wasn't perhaps playing as well as he has, but I think we've got to remember the guy is coming back from a broken ankle or broken leg or whatever it was he had. He's been out for a year. It's going to take time, and the fact also, Alulu is not getting any younger. The guy is 35 years old. He's not getting any younger.
See, I'm fine with it. That to me is they rotate their players anyway on defense. That's not a big issue for the defensive tackle to move behind one step, or nose tackle, to move behind. Michael says here, Noel did it to Bradshaw, and also to back it up too. I remember this too. Terry says that Tomlin did it to Mason to Duck, right? They benched Mason for Duck, and that kind of happened. They went back to Mason after that, I think. So they played him for 3 games or whatnot. So, it can happen, but I still think of this notion there could be an idea of the contract. I don't know if Trubisky has a certain clause to go out and get him, 6 games in a row, or, just see what can you get away with 6 games in a row. But I don't think you can. But let's talk about this game this week. What are you most looking forward to versus the Jets? Like on a positive side, what are you keen to see from the fellas?
Yeah, good question.
Anything?
I think you've got to look at Harris and Warren. Obviously, we've heard from Chase Claypool this week that we're going to see a change in the Steelers' offense, and the general consensus, listening to the likes of Dan Kovacevic, our good mate Wes Euler, Chris Carter, and so on, seems to be that the Steelers are going to go for more ground and pound type offense.
I hope so.
Well, so Harris and Warren, I think, are going to have a key part to play. Harris, another week under his belt, another week worth of fitness. The offensive line, who I think, do you know what? This is one of the things that frustrates me, Mark, so much about Steelers fans, is the fact that we continually scapegoat the offensive line. The offensive line's been quite good. The offensive line's pass protection is solid, and the run defense, their run blocking is getting better game on game. The run output has increased. I mean, I can't remember the exact stats, but it's something like 50 yards up to 75 yards, up to 104 yards in the last 3 weeks. So there's an increase there. I want to see Jaylen Warren get a fair crack at the whip. I thought Coach Tomlin was absolutely bang out of order to bench him after he fumbled the ball once. I mean, what does that do to the confidence of a rookie when you yank him? When you yank him, that's not what. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love Coach Tomlin. I think he's a great coach, but at times he does things where I just want to slap him because he just seems to be, like one rule for one and another rule for another, that somebody can play absolutely shockingly bad. Mitch Trubisky get away with it week in, week out. Jaylen Warren makes one mistake and gets dragged off the field and gets benched. Not fair.
Yeah, he's playing really good football too. I think he's going north and south. That penalty that got called back was a momentum changer, but they should have overcome that. Yeah. That was a great pass, great catch as well, and run up the field for 35 yards. Reginald Rivers says here, Tyson should have never made the team. That's an interesting point. Should have been cut from the start because you can use Montravius Adams and other guys can come in there too. What are your thoughts about that? Tyson not making the team? I don't mind him. I just think use him as rotation piece.
I think Tyson made the team because obviously Adams missed the whole preseason, didn't he, with that ankle/leg injury that he had. So I think that's probably why. Had Adams been fit all preseason, it may have been a different matter. But the Steelers are not exactly deep at nose tackle. I think that's the issue around that.
What are your thoughts so far on rookie DeMarvin Leal on the defensive line? You think he's having a good go?
Oh, he's definitely having a good. Yeah, he looked good. I mean, to be fair, against the Browns, he was one of the defensive linemen that actually did look fairly decent, to be honest with you. So yeah, Leal's done a good job. He's had passes defense. He's got after the quarterback. He's doing it. He's doing a decent job, and he even lined up on the edge a couple of times. I noticed as well against the Browns. I mean, that may be a possibility the Steelers look at going into this next game, given the fact obviously that Watt is still out and Malik Reed has not been exactly effective as.
No, he's been invisible out there.
Yeah, primary edge rusher.
Yeah,
I mean, Highsmith is leading the league in sacks, which is a positive.
Yeah, I know that is quite crazy. He's leading the league in sacks 4.5, and we haven't really talked about that because I think the defense is missing TJ Watt because they're 0-6-1 or whatever they are. They have not won a game without their star. Michael says he's a bust.
I would disagree with that. Michael, go back and watch the old 22, mate.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a bust. I think he's playing pretty hard out there. He's been close to what? I think he's got a sack, hasn't he, or a sack and a half? I think so far.
I think as well. You've got to remember the kid. I mean, the kid's a rookie. I mean, he was a 3rd round pick. He's not a first 2 round. He's not in the first 2 rounds. For a 3rd round pick, he's doing a pretty decent job, in my opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion too. I don't think you can label someone a bust just yet after 3 games. The guy you can label a bust is the guy I've been talking about is Trubisky. But Michael also said, watch the disaster unfold. What if we're looking at this game, previewing the Jets, who's going to beat us on their side? What will it take for the Steelers to lose this game? Because we'll get to our picks later, and we'll get your guys' picks too. But how do the Jets beat the Steelers?
Run the ball. That's the one thing.
They got some good running backs too.
Breece Hall, is it the guy's called? I think. Garrett Wilson, their wide receiver's done a good job. CJ Azama, the former Bengal. Zach Wilson's back, which obviously is a slight downside because I'd rather have faced the old immobile Joe Flacco. But Wilson's mobility, Wilson's talent to throw on the run, Zach Wilson's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. So I think they've got the weapons, they've got better weapons, and then on defense you've got Lawson going up against Dan Moore. He's due a big game according to stuff that I've read on Jets website. They've obviously got they've got that corner as well, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, who's looked impressive so far this season. But the Jets are a Jekyll and Hyde team, aren't they? Really, I mean, you look at they obviously lost last week, but then obviously they came back and beat Cleveland, the team that we lost.
The last 2 minutes. It's going to be Zach Wilson's first game of the season. I think that's pretty big. To see what he had what did he have, rib injuries or something like that? I don't know what he had. Sorry? Zach Wilson, the quarterback, had did he have rib injuries?
No, something to do with his knee, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, he's been out. I'm thinking of Joe Burrow had rib injuries, but he's been out for what, 4 weeks? It's going to be his first game playing, so there's going to be some nerves, some rustiness. It might look awful on offense, but I have more trust, I think, in Zach Wilson now being a rookie quarterback than I do Trubisky. And if the Jets can run over us, like, can you see them scoring more than 20 points?
No.
Is it come down to the defense to win this game?
Yes, it does. But to be honest with you, I can't see either team scoring more than 20 points. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a great watch on Sunday, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's going to be an attritional game.
Yeah, and we might also have, I don't know what the news is now, but we signed Jordan Berry. Thoughts on my Australian and my Australian mate come back?
I think Jordan Berry gets he's okay. He's not brilliant. He's not terrible. He does a decent job. Was it? I called him during the week the Thunder from Down Under, but
he's not that bad. He's not that bad. Like I think the best thing I find about this pickup is he knows how to hold the football. I know this sounds funny, how to hold the football for Chris Boswell. And that to me is comforting, knowing that Chris Boswell has a guy to hold the football. Been doing it for 6 years. So I don't
think we'll see him this week though, because from what I've read of the injury report, Presley Harvin's been a full participant, but this week. But so I don't think we'll see Jordan.
But the teams often carry second punters. What's the reason for him being there? Is he putting pressure on Presley Harvin to lose his job?
Could be. Yeah, I mean, Harvin's been very mixed in his performance this year as well. Plus, I mean, let's face it, Harvin could suffer from fatigue, if I'm being honest with you. The amount of times he's been worked this season so far.
Didn't he punt like 8 times last week or something?
I know.
Or 9?
I know I had some comments on some of the videos on my channel saying like I'm surprised the guy's leg hasn't fallen off the amount of times you have to kick the ball on.
Yeah, it's look, I'm not really that excited as well. And we'll get to our picks near the end of the show. But we've got Joseph here. Another question says, it's been rumors that Najee has been missing holes. Do you think it's vision problems or lack of confidence in the O line? They're great, two good points. What do you reckon?
I don't think he lacks vision. I think number one was a lack of initial confidence in the offensive line, given the amount of down talking the line had. But I think a lot of it was around Najee Harris's fitness as well. I don't think he's been fully fit. I think he's been suffering with injuries to both feet. He's not 100% fit. His ability to change direction, his ability to cut is going to be affected by those feet injuries, sorry, that he's had. So I think that's also part of it as well. But no, I think his vision. There was never any concerns coming out of Alabama about the guy's vision. I mean,
I'd like to see him actually get the ball more. I know we all said we don't want to see him, less carries, but I think he's only been getting about 15 a game. He was usually getting last year about 25 a game. I think he's a guy that you need to feed early, often, and then like you said with Canada, they got to go back to a more of a bruising set where they can rush the football. I checked out some stats. Right, here's some stats from the Chicago game. Where I just had it up here. So Chicago ran the ball, right? And this is what I want to see with our offense. They ran the ball over, I think, 40 times. Khalil Herbert had 157 yards on the game, 7.8 average. Justin Fields ran it 8 times. I can't pronounce the first name. Equinemius St. Brown had two rushes, like, the sweeps and stuff. David Montgomery 3 times. Ebner 7 times. Why can't the Steelers run the football like that? Use Claypool or Sims on the reverses, start the motion, but like using this O-line, why can't they run Najee like that these other teams do? With the two back set, bang, bang, thunder and lightning kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, get the ball to Harris. I mean, the one positive, if you give the ball to Harris and you're taking it out of Trubisky's hands, and I think that's a positive. I mean, as sad as that is to say, and as bad as that is to say, the more you take the ball out of Trubisky's hands, the better. I'd trust Harris with it in his hands more than Trubisky within his hands.
And if you're throwing like 5.5 yards average anyway, aren't you better off giving it to your running backs to run 5.5? You know what I mean? Like, why not just, this offense so far is very comical. And Michael says here the O-line hasn't been good. But I think, to me, in my opinion, the O-line's been a real bright spot. Like, there was a play, I think it was when Najee Harris was going down to the line. There was James Daniels. I think it was Mason Cole, like, manhandling their guys. Like, I think they've been pretty good. How would you rate the offensive line so far? And in this game, in this game, what can they do in this game to get a win?
The offensive, to be honest with you, I get a bit annoyed at fans criticising the offensive line. I think the offensive line's been the biggest positive on the offense, if I'm being honest with you. If you watch all 22 footage, if you watch that, you look at the amount of clean pockets they are giving Trubisky. It is astronomical. I think I took issue with a fan who wrote, I can't remember if it was on my Twitter or on my YouTube, that Trubisky is running for his life. Trubisky isn't running for his life. Trubisky's choosing to run for his life.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to run. You look at the last game, like you said, Mark, those guys are manhandling their players. They're opening gaps. Dotson's getting back to his road grading best. Dan Moore and Dotson are linking well on that left side. The line is fine. I'm not saying the line's outstanding. Don't get me wrong. They're an average offensive line. But an average offensive line is better than what we had last season. And it's better than what we feared we'd have at the start of the season. And what's interesting, I think, was in that first half against Cleveland, if you look at the touchdown drives the Steelers had, there was an equal split of run and pass. And that's why they were able to move the ball and eat the clock. In the second half, the Steelers went away from that and went solely to passing the ball. Now, I can't remember the exact stats, but it was something like the Steelers only possessed the ball for 3 minutes, 24 seconds in that second half.
That's incredible.
And had six net yards of offense.
Is that dead set? Like, dead set they have?
I'm sure. I'm 99% certain I read that somewhere this week.
They possessed the ball for 3 minutes and they only went 6 yards in the second half.
Well, yeah, can you remember a drive in the second half?
I haven't watched the game. I probably should watch the game to critique the Steelers and look, stuff like that. But I can't suffer under watching that game. You know, I would rather watch a game when they lose and they play well. But you're saying they 3 minutes and 6 yards. That's awful.
They were shocking. I mean, if you look at as well, there was a drive where I think it was the start of the second half. The Browns went 11 plays, 10 of which were rushing through Nick Chubb. They went 80 yards down the field, ate up 6.5 minutes of clock time, and scored a touchdown. The Steelers' response was 3 and out straight away.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And there was some other stat as well that I read during the week about the fact that the vast majority of Steelers drives have been less than 2 minutes this season.
Alrighty, so I know that's also I think 24 minutes 24 minutes average. I think the Canada offense, and here's where the blame should be on Canada in the whole offense, right? But bright spots in my opinion are the offensive line, the running backs. You know, they can't get in a bit of a groove, but they're averaging 24 minutes possession. Like, you can't win games, all right? Can you if you're doing that?
No, it's dead last in the NFL by over a minute. That's how bad it is. I mean, it's the defense is also league high, 35 minutes and so many seconds on the field, which is a league high as well. And the problem is now you're seeing that because the offense can't keep the defense off the field, the defense is starting to get injured. You know, because of the fact it's wear and tear. Witherspoon, hamstring injury, that comes through wear and tear. TJ Watt through wear and tear, and that's Minka Fitzpatrick, concussion injury this week. You've got to keep these guys off the field. If you're going to get the very best out of them, like we did against the Bengals, then you've got to keep them off the field. I mean, they had against the Bengals, they were on the field for 100 snaps. The defense, it's too many.
So I just looked it up, play by play. I think they were about 10 minutes in the second half, but still they scored 3 points in the second half. In their first, after the second quarter, in the third quarter, 10 plays, 38 yards, 5 minutes, didn't go anywhere. Then they were to punt the football. Sorry, I got a bloody ad in the background. I couldn't hear myself. They were to punt the football. After that, 4 plays, 2 minutes, 18 yards, punt. They missed the field goal, 5 plays, 16 yards, 242. And then I'm reading the first half, my bad. Anyways, overall, it's terrible. I was reading part of the first half there, but it does say, you know, about 9 minutes average in the second half. But that includes the fumble at the end too. They got a field goal, 7 plays, 63 yards, 125. But other than that, a lot of players are going three and outs. They went 3 and outs -5, 3 and outs 4 yards, and yeah, 3 and outs. They made 11 yards. That's what it says here. So how do they improve? Let's talk about, you know, some positives and how they improve and win this week. And what do you need to see to be confident going into the Bills game if they win this game? Because the title does suggest, right, if the Steelers lose this game, is the season over? Like, so what do you need to see, Owen?
I think answering your second question first. If the Steelers lose against the Jets on Sunday, then I think there's a very good, strong possibility they go into the bye at 1-7 because I can't see them beating any of the following teams if they lose to the Jets. What do they need to do to win? They need to run the ball. They need to establish the run straight up. First up, establish the run to eat clock. Mix the offense. You know, like we said, like we saw in the first half against the Browns when the offense wasn't dreadful. It wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't dreadful. There was an equal balance between run and pass, and that's something they've got to do against the Jets. Because, you know, if they get that equal balance, it keeps the Jets defense, you know, on the back foot about what is coming. But if they're solely throwing the ball all the time, then the Jets defense know then they're not going to run it, so we don't need to worry about the run. In terms of the defense has got to get after Zach Wilson. So that means the likes of Highsmith, Hayward, Ogunjobi have got to get after Zach Wilson and get in his face. If that happens, there's a good possibility. I mean, the Jets can't run the ball very well anyway, but as Devin Bush said this week, they're going to try and run it because it's the Steelers. I mean, it's a bit of a sad indictment of the Steelers' run defense when even Devin Bush.
Well, he said that, did he? He came out and said that.
It's on Twitter, So,
hey, man, that's you know, admitting there's a problem, but there's still a problem that exists. So, to me, if they lose this game, which I think they have all chance to be honest, I have no confidence. And the reason why I have no confidence in them winning is because the offense is terrible. But if they go and lose this game, there's a big chance they go 1-7. and the season is pretty much over. There's a chance they go 1-3. The season is over. When I say the season's over, of course we're gonna watch. We're black and gold, faithfuls. But the season could be very well over where you're starting Trubisky to pretty much lose at that point, and then put Kenny in after the bye and see what happens to get some experience. But for me, if you can't beat the Jets or have it be competitive, then there's a big chance it'll be over. Steeler Girl 808 says if the defense on the field too long, then we're going to lose to the Jets because you can't. I think in any game, if you're holding the football for 24 minutes, 25 minutes, that means your opposition has it for 36, and if it's half and half, right? Football's half and half. Either side can play. If they're getting extra 6 minutes, that's 2 drives, right?
Yeah.
2 drives, 2 scores. That's 1 score. And we can't sustain drives. I think for this team to win, they really have, and to improve my confidence as a fan, I really want to see Trubisky go out there and do something. Like I'm not talking 4 TDs and 500 yards. I'm talking 250, 2 TDs. I don't care if you throw an interception, but command the offense. Can they not go out there and command the offense? Who else do you think needs to step up for this, team to win?
I think the receivers do. Again, they need to. But then you think is that fair, given the fact that they've not been really doing anything wrong in this game? One thing I would want
hands up. All they do is hands up because they're getting frustrated.
Oh yeah, I don't know whether you've seen, Mark. I know this is a negative again, but there's it was an all-22 that I saw from the Browns game where Pickens runs an out route and then he turns back and he's absolutely wide open, and Trubisky checks the ball down. They lose 4 yards, and Pickens is going absolutely mental. Like he is properly losing his.
True. And I get that. And you can't get every single wide open receiver. They always say, all the receivers are wide open, but there's consistency. And I go to the mannerisms of the player because I'm not a player myself, right? And I see that I think it's Muth, Pickens, DJ, and Najee Harris are all frustrated, and maybe Claypool as well. I've seen them on footage, right? And here's a good point. Where I think how we're going to win this game and put my trust more back in this team. Matt says, Freiermuth, please use the middle of the field. Why isn't Trubisky not targeting Freiermuth against these middle linebackers, against certain safeties and certain routes and concepts where they can, use them like Kelsey? He's just as good as Kelsey, right? And how Mahomes uses Kelsey is unbelievable. He runs his route and he checks down, sits, and he gets 10 yards. Why isn't Matt Canada designing plays to get him involved and then of course Trubisky can't stay in the pocket, right? Here's the pocket. He runs out, like he has to go to the bathroom. He runs out to the right and then cuts off the whole field. He runs to his right, cuts off the whole field. And I sit back and watch and go, this play is done. It's already over. Why isn't he using Muth?
I don't understand it. I mean, there was a tweet that I read on Sunday by someone. I think it was a guy from Behind the Steel Curtain, Mark, which you work for, and it was a question: is Pat Freiermuth even playing? And I think that was spot on. I mean, up until about the third or fourth quarter, we never even saw Freiermuth.
Fourth quarter, 3 minutes in, they targeted him 4 times to go down the field. Two were connected. We got the field goal, I'm pretty sure.
And one was miles over his head, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, one was up here, mate. It was beyond. It was near the sky. I'm really getting to a point where I'm really frustrated with this team because it's such a good team, I think, on paper, right? And we've been talking about all offseason how Omar Khan's been doing brilliant things, bringing in certain guys. You're now wasting a guy like Miles Jack. Like, I think Miles Jack could win the game by himself on defense if he wanted to. He's playing outstanding, running around everywhere. Our defense is trying to keep up, but how long can you hold off? Like, if we see the Jets go out there and beat us 21 to 13 because we can't score points, how deflating would that be?
Oh, huge. I think what the dangerous thing is, though, that there's a lot of insiders, there's a lot of reporters, there's a lot of fans saying, "Oh, it's only the Jets. It's only the Jets. It's only the Jets." That's dangerous. I mean, we know from bitter past that the moment Steelers are put in a position where we are playing a team that we allegedly should easily beat, it's when we start to struggle. I think that's.
But we're a team that can be easily beat. I don't think this is a trap game. I think it's a game that both teams are terrible and the Jets can beat us. I really, if I was a Jets fan, I'd be like, thank you. I don't mind this game. They can't score points. Trubisky can't go down the field and score points. So to me, it's not really a trap game of like, it's a lonely Jets. Jets can run the football. Jets can play defense. I know the guy over there, CJ Mosley, is their middle linebacker. He used to be the Raven, right? He used to be a lot of trouble for us too. I could see him getting in passing lanes or confusing, sending a blitz down there. Robert Sahala is a defensive-minded coach, right? That dude looks like he wants to play on the field. He's so jacked up and ready to play. He could easily. Why can't he outcoach Tomlin in this scenario? So, do you want to get into some score predictions?
Yeah, let's go for score predictions then.
What you got, mate?
So I've been saying all week both teams will score less than 20 points. It will be an attritional game. I'm going to go for 13-10 Steelers.
Yeesh. I'm actually similar. I've been like, I kind of want to pick the Jets to win because I still think the offense is poor, right? And it's not that fun to watch right now. It's probably the worst in the league, or one of maybe the 25th best in the league, maybe. But I think somehow they win this game. I'm gonna go. What'd you say? You said what? 13-10?
13-10.
I'll go something similar. I'll go. Let's go all Boswell. What, 15-13? Is that all Boswell? That's 3.
Yeah, 5 field goals.
Yeah, let's go 5 field goals because he's going to kick him in Heinz Field. They'll play better on offense. They won't score any TDs, and we'll go 15-13, which is awful. But we do have some comments in here, and I want to bring this up. It says, take shots down the field, pick in the Claypool, do one-on-one on the outside, TD curl up the middle. Yeah, exactly. TD could easily have 10 catches. 100%. That's what we're saying. Like, we don't understand. We don't know why they're not using Muth. We just don't get it.
I mean that's the sad thing, in Pickens and Claypool, they've got 2 absolute beasts of wide receivers. I mean, these guys are 6'3", 6'4", 230 pounds, run 4.4 40s. They're quick, they're big, they're strong, and they're just not using their strengths. And
where's Olszewski? They're putting Olszewski out there on running plays. How many times have you seen Olszewski out there trying to block outside linebacker? Why are you using him on running plays? Put out there Gentry, and it's just a lot of it I don't understand. I'm not an offensive coordinator, but you and I could have a better game plan of like, hey Najee, just run the ball straight 3 times in a row. If you get 3.4 yards, you get a first down, and just do that every time. That's an easy take, though. We have Brennan here says too, Jets 24. I could see this, man. I really could. I don't want to see it, but this is what I'm saying. If the Steelers lose, is the season over? Because it does feel like that. If they go 1-3, you can't beat the quote-unquote bad Jets. And yes, but they have a rookie quarterback who's trying to do something over there. They have a defensive coach in Robert Salah, what he's doing over there. Trying they want to win. They want to go out there and absolutely clock the black and gold. Matt says here 26-17 Steelers. Claude says 24-20 black and gold. So there's some close games, but in all these scores too, I think with the 2 positive ones with and even to yours and mine, right? We want to see the offense do better. So Trubisky, in my opinion, lead by example. Like, why are you a captain? Why is he a captain, Owen?
I don't know. I'm being severely honest. I honestly do not know. That's the other issue is, do you bench your captain? Can you bench your captain?
I don't know why he was made captain in the first place. I don't. You know what? That kind of insults other captains in the past. I'm sorry. It kind of does.
I mean, if you think about as well, the Steelers and the captains on the Steelers team. I mean, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, what does that say to them?
I don't know, but we got some good points here. 999 says the Seahawks. I love this. This is. Can we get rid of the jet sweep? 6 times. 6 times. It works sometimes. There are 2 plays in the offensive playbook that works. The rollout pass to Claypool when they cut off half the field, Shaw or Deontay. That pass they always do. The design rollout where they would roll out one side and go, okay, let's throw the ball to DJ. It works for 7 yards. It's not getting you a TD. Now, the designed reverse or jet sweep also works in scenarios like you saw in the preseason. Steven Sims ran away, shocked everyone. We didn't see that. We're like, holy moly, what happened, right? But doing it 6-7 times a game, in my opinion, and I think you'll back me up here, that doesn't work.
No.
And the screens, that one screen we've seen the whole time where there's two receivers, and Claypool and Muth are not getting the football. They know they're not getting the football. And DJ steps off his right, comes back to his left, looks for a screen. By that time, they're run over.
Mm-hmm.
They're run over. The game's done. All right.
100%.
I'm frustrated. You got any more final thoughts, mate? Anything you want to say to the fans? It's our last opportunity before we get to the game.
Do you know, Mark, I'm lost for words with this team. I just trying to find a positive at the moment is difficult. I think it's positive that Minka seems to be fit. That's a positive. But I just want to see the Steelers go out there on Sunday and play with some passion, play with some heart, and run the ball. Just run it. Use Harris, use Warren, who are probably our two most talented players on offense. Run the ball.
Even I would even say if they get tired, use Snell. Like go to more run based team. And 999 says, why don't they use more of a gun trips right set? Get Claypool, Deontay, and Pickens all in one. In a trip set where you can confuse the defense, where you start using. I've talked about it with Matty Peverill on BTSC. Why don't they use rub routes? You never see them use any rub routes or pick routes where they go across the middle and they get the defense confused. They seem like they just do the curl routes or the simple outs and the rollouts and they cut, like when they do that rollout play. In my opinion, I look back when I live stream it. I know you live stream it too. I look back and go, they just cut off half the field. You're rolling out, you just cut off half the field because you can't throw back to your left. I'm sick of seeing it, and I think a lot of responsibility is on Matt Canada, Coach Tomlin, all three of them. Something needs to change. And for me in this game, I think I really, you know what? I don't even care if they lose or win. I just want to see them play better. Like, can you go out there and score 30 points or put drives together? How do you not how do you not have a drive at the very end? Sorry, how do you not put drives at the very end where you're getting -9? I think it was -9 yards in 3 drives, Owen. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you want to call it?
What do you mean? Finish it.
Yeah. Look, we're going along with the truth here, guys, and I appreciate every single one coming in. We got Jake from Canada says 9-10. Steeler Girl says 14-17. We're so predictable, 100%. 999 talked about the jet motion and stuff like that. Juice, aka Bacon, was here too. Everyone's in here, man. If you guys want to go back and watch it for the 100%. It's just, look, guys, watch today's game. We'll be cheering on the Dolphins to beat the Bengals, for them to go 1-3. I will be streaming on Steel Nation Australia, and I think Owen's streaming on Britsburgh. Owen, no.
Britsburgh Sports USA.
Britsburgh Sports USA. Type in the live stream. You can check us out there. But I'm frustrated. You know why? Because this offense doesn't do anything, and it's not even to the point. It's like, you can get down 70 yards and you get to the red zone. When's the last time we've been in the red zone?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? T. Brennan makes a really good point there in the live chat, doesn't he? He says Big Ben used to call audibles because he knew Canada didn't know the right place. It's why he loved the hurry up, or the tempo, as it's called nowadays. But no, I think that was, if you look last season, the times when our offense was successful was when Ben took over, and I think as many insiders term it, drew up plays in the dirt.
Yeah, we talked about that all last year too. Yeah, Big Ben was drawing plays in the dirt, doing his own thing. That's what it looked like anyway to us, to the naked eye, I guess. To me, there is just, look, one final point. If they lose this game against the Jets, the season very well could be over, because how do you come back from 1-3 with 4 games going into Buffalo? Then you verse the Buccaneers. TJ Watt's back, but it's still Tom Brady. Philadelphia Eagles away, and then Dolphins away, or they interchange. Either way, then we get a bye. The Steelers could go 1-7 coming in this bye. If they get a positive though, and they can go 4-3 or 3-4, we have a chance for the playoffs in this wild card. I don't think we're winning the division. I think right now that the Ravens can run away. I think the Browns will probably fall away at some part. And if the Bengals lose, it's going to be the Ravens division. Would you not agree?
Oh yeah, I mean, I said at the start of the season it was between the Ravens and the Steelers. Well, I would have to say the Steelers, wouldn't I? But I think the Ravens are looking a very good team, if I'm being honest.
They are,
Well,
and we don't see them for another few weeks with Lamar Jackson and stuff like that.
yeah,
But guys, we're going to end it. We appreciate all the comments, and if you guys made it this far to 50 minutes in, hit that sub, hit that like, do what you need to do. I'm excited for the game. I know that you are too, Owen, but
yeah,
it's a little bit like last week. I thought they would lose, and I'm not going to get my hopes up because if you get your hopes up, they can get crushed. Your dreams get crushed. Until the offense, for me, starts to really put it together, and I'll be more confident. Other than, I'm just waiting for TJ to come back.
yeah, 100%.
All right, mate. I'll see you on the. What are we doing the post game after that?
Yeah, post game.
Yep. Oh man, it'll be my 7 a.m.
Yay!
All right, guys.
Respect.
Oh, you're staying up now too to watch the Bengals lose. I respect
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I mean, I'll see you all later. Thanks for checking out Steel Syndicate podcast. And as always, guys, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.